So this is the first of two videos to give you a bit of a basic introduction to Google Sheets. And we looked at Google Sheets already when we're looking at Google Forms. And Google Sheets is one of those things that really, to know the whole thing would probably take you a lifetime. It's full of really, really cool things to do. But I'm just going to give you a few basics and show you how you can use it in the classroom and actually give you some skills that you might be able to use as you get older, especially jobs. Using things like spreadsheets is a really important part of a lot of jobs these days. So let's see what we can figure out. So we open up Google Sheets from here. It looks like this. That's Google Sheets there. So you click on it. I've already opened basic one here, but we'll come back to that a little bit later. And you come up with all these, basically what we call cells. Alright, and these cells, you can move them around, change them. Give it a name. Okay, so you've got your A to Z column up here, 1 to however many you need. So I'm scrolling down there, don't need that many. But you can format the cells, make them a little bit wider, a little bit chunkier there. Let's just leave them as normal for now. So, you can use these cells basically if you've, especially as you're beginning to use Google Sheets, you can use it in a really simple way and just type information in to present something. So it might be a table of information. Your table of information, well, let's actually quickly show you how to merge cells. So select, merge all, and that turns that into one giant cell. And then also to highlight the cells a little bit more, because I'm going to do like a little bit of a table. I want to actually highlight all these lines, horizontal and vertical lines. So I'm going to press up here, and I can select borders. So I want to make all borders visible, and then that stands out just a little bit more. So let's say days of the week. Things I do on days of the week. Doesn't make much sense, but it's all good. Now I can center that text, obviously. Might want to make a little bit wider. Then I can do other things like make the text, horizontally aligned to the left. I was doing that just before. Center it. There we go. So it's just a little bit in the middle, a little bit more. Let's do that. Just looks a little bit neater. And you notice too at the top here, a lot of the functions and features of like Google Docs, Google Slides, and all that is up here too. So like in your file section, it's fairly similar. There's a lot of new ones up there. But as far as like all your text features like font size, font type, bold, italic, let's get out of that. Font color, fill color, stuff like that. That's all still there. Okay. So let's just do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I won't fill the whole thing in. I'm going to center that text. There we go. The things I do a day of the week. So Monday I might have, basketball training. And I might also have basketball training on a Wednesday. Training. Let's make this a little bit more functional now. Thinking, because I'm talking about certain things that I'm doing across the week, I might just insert another column. So right click. Let's go up here actually. I want to insert column to the right. Cool. Let's copy that. So Command X, Command V. Cool. And that's taking that format. So I'm just going to make sure I highlight those cells too. There we go. And let's have time. So let's put 3:30 p.m. 4. Okay. So you got to get a bit of an idea there, and it's putting that into 24-hour time, which is totally fine. So the reason I've got that on there, let's center that text. Then you can do really cool things like if you want, if it's the same thing here and here, to make your table stand out a little bit more, you might have basketball training, those cells highlighted yellow. If on a Wednesday you have swimming, you got a different time, whatever that time may be, you might have a different color highlight for that. And that's just a really visually pleasing way of kind of organising like a table, making it stand out a little bit more. And you'll see things like adding your teachers near your teacher's desk when they've got like duty rosters and things like that. And it's done in a really similar way. This is a basic way because you physically are entering in all the information, and the idea of sheets is to actually speed things up. So yeah, that's just a really simple way of kind of using sheets to create something like a table and demonstrate, show data. Let's go through some of the features up here. You can insert a link into text. So you can have the text display, let's just say dogs, and the link might be www.stgregsdogschool.nsw.edu.au. Apply. So then you've got a link there to that website, which I don't know why you'd have dogs there, but anyway, just an example. So that's pretty much it there. That's like the really basic kind of stuff there. And then you can do certain things like print and just go back. Notice how I've just highlighted the cells that are actually in my sheet. If I don't want to print off a big sheet with this just really small in the middle of it, I can go print and the selection of cells that I've just printed, or same as if you're saving it. So download as, you might want to save it as a PDF document, and I want to just save the selection, so I'll go export, and let's just have a look at how that's come up on a sheet that I can print off. There you go, so it's looking a lot neater. Okay, again, and that's pretty good. Examples of that you probably see around school, like I said before, are things like the teacher duty rosters and things like that. So that's the real basic stuff there in relation to Google Sheets. So one of the cool things I want to show you, the last part of this video, is just how you can use some of the functions that are within Google Sheets. So let's go athletics. So I've made up a bit of a fake, I've got a bit of an idea for a table here. I'm imagining that we're collecting information about students in a class and how far they can throw a shot put. So let's, first I've got the table, and I'm going to keep it really simple here, guys, because things like centering the text and making it look a little bit, more visually pleasing and things like that, they're kind of things you do afterwards once you get the kind of the main guts of it all sorted. So let's put some just kids' names in here: James, Dave, Sally, Jessica, Melina, and Bill. Okay. So I've got student names here, 6 names. First try, second try. Let's do third try. Okay. And what I want to do, let's just say I'm outside, we're measuring how far they throw it. First try could be 3.5 meters. Second try could be 2.9. And then on the third try it could be 4.0. Now, let's just say I wanted to get some information, like an average of how far James can throw a shot put after 3 goes. So you can do a really cool thing with all these cells using things called formulas. Okay, so the formula bar is up here, and there's only one I want to show you right now. Okay, and it's what we call an average formula. So I want this cell to represent an average of these 3 scores. Okay, so select the cell, click the equals button, and the equation, like the formula for average is just start putting in AV, select average, and then click on the cells you want it to find an average of. So I'm holding down the mouse here, selecting all three of those. Now I'm going to click enter. And there you go. It automatically gives me an average of those three scores. Now, watch what happens if I change the score. If that was 7 meters, there you go. Automatically formulates a new average for me. So 4.3. There we go. Let's make that 66, something crazy. And you can see there the average changes according to that. Okay, so that's a really kind of cool tool, very useful tool that you can do, and you can set these cells up to create averages before you even put data in. So let's put equals AV, get our average, and select those cells. Click enter. Okay, so it's come up this funny little thing because caused a divide by 0 error. That's because we don't have any data in there yet. So if I go 4, 4, 3, there you go. You've got your scores now. So you could round that off to maybe 1 or 2 decimal points, 3.66, because you're talking about probably meters here. So 3.66 meters. Another really cool thing, so you could do that for all those people there, right? So remember the key to doing it: select the cell, hit the equals button on your keyboard, AV for average, find average, and then select your cells. Okay, now if they're not all in a row, here's what you can do. You can put the actual input the cells in. So think of battleships, think about coordinates. So this cell here, let's just say I wanted to get an average of this cell where I've got the cursor right now, and this cell over here. I can't just click and drag those things. But this cell has a name. It's in the C column, C6. So I can put over here C6. And I also want it to be this column here, B8. So comma, B8. And then click enter. So let's just say 5. And let's put 2 there. So it should be 3.5. Yep, cool. So you can select cells all over the sheet. Like you might have 2 or 3 tables of information and you need to collect an average score from those 3. So if you've got 3 different groups, let's just say you're out on the playground, split into 3 groups of 6, you could all be collaborating on the one document. So group 1 could be putting all their data here, group 2 data over here, group 3 data over here, and then you could set your set up another table that takes an average score of all 3 sets of data by, say, selecting a cell that's collected all this information and putting it into another cell. And I'll show you how to do that in a minute. So if we wanted to get an average of everyone's score here, we might just have a little box down here. Let's highlight that. Let's put all scores, and let's make this an average of all of this stuff here. Okay, so equals AV, and let's click and drag and click enter. Boom. Okay, so that'd be your average for your whole group. So then what you could do, let's just say I'm going to copy that data there, copy V. So again, like I said before, a whole class could be working on one sheet, but you could just be worrying about putting information here. Someone could put actually it could be group 1 total. This could be group 2 total. Okay, let's just stick with 2 groups, and let's just say that's your whole class there. You've got 12 students in your class. Whole class average, without even having the number yet. Let's set that up a bit. Highlight that. I like to do that. I want to make this an average of these 2 scores, which is technically an average of each table, all their total scores, but I only need to select 2 cells. So let's make that equals average and let's make, what's the name of the cell? That's E11. So E11, comma, and K11. K11. Enter. Boom. And you can see it's got the same, scroll across just a little bit. You can see it's got that average there because they're both the exact same score. So if I was to go over here and change something, 7, not only does it change this, it changes the whole class average too. So let's input lots of data here, 4, 5, 5. And why that's useful, you might be doing something like this regularly. Let's just say you're a little bit older and you're doing some kind of athletics coaching or coaching of some sort, whatever. You could have set up a spreadsheet like this that's you could use all the time and just keep making copies of it because you know you've already got the formulas all set out across the sheet. So it all just works automatically. So I think this is a good example of how Google Sheets can really streamline work for you and present information that you know is correct. If you're putting the right formulas in, then you're not having to work out averages and you're not having to add up all the time. It's really about streamlining and not cutting corners, but making your life a lot easier. And then obviously, as I said before, presenting it in a visually pleasing way is always useful because people need to be able to read information. So simple things like centering the text, maybe bold, slightly large text because you technically got they're kind of like subheadings almost. Let's put those names over there. And other things like if you wanted to divide them up into girls and boys, then James or boys might be in yellow, so it's a color coding kind of thing. Girls, Sally, Jessica, Helena, highlight them in blue. So things like that, just to differentiate and just that kind of shows you another set of data too, like how many boys and how many girls have participated. So have a bit of a play around with that if you want to construct something similar to that. Anything where you need to find an average of a number. Ideas for averages are how often does it rain, things like that. Temperatures are a really good way to set out average and work out, create tables and work out averages for temperatures across the year, across a month. Get those sets of data and have a go at entering it in yourself.